Well, what's up, everybody? This is Fred's FanView Live, Real Fans Talk Sports. Y'all see my big smile. Listen, man, that's what this video is about. I had a chance to watch the episode of Get Up yesterday, and Ryan Clark was, talking about the experience that happened to his son earlier this week by experiencing being called racial slurs out there in Arizona. And so he had a chance to talk about it on Get Up yesterday, and you could feel his emotion, you could feel his expression about him and his son, his son and a couple of his teammates was at I believe, a restaurant in Arizona. And, then the police were called on them and, they, told some racial slurs. And, and I think as a parent, he was crying because he didn't really prepare his son. He think the best way for what society is going to look at him. I think living in Baton Rouge, being a former pro player, being kind of a person, involved in his community, very invested in Baton Rouge, and his son was always just Ryan Clark's son. So his son never got to really identify with being a black American man outside of his father's protection. Everyone looked at his son as a person that he sees, that's Ryan Clark's son. But finally, being in Arizona, away from that protection, he got experience to being just a black American kid, and finally had to experience racism. First and foremost, I'm proud of Ryan Clark for being able to be on air, talk about it, express every emotion he had. Man, I'm proud of him. Let your tears run, man. Let your tears just flow. Because he was not apologizing for what happened to his son. He was really apologizing about the fact that he didn't prepare his son for his life battles. And that's something that, as a black community of men, I think we all kind of fall short on. Most of us have come from a poverty community. And for a lot of us, I'll say, we had a chance to become an athlete or become a good educated person. And we got a kind of chance to get out of it, right? We got a chance to go to college, get an education, get a degree or get an occupation that allowed us to live away from it. And because we had a chance to live away from it, our kids probably grew up very interracial. They went to an all-white school. My kids personally, I live in New Orleans. My kids personally live in St. Tammany Parish, if you're from Louisiana. It's probably the richest parish in the state, okay? My kids grew up very interracial. And what I mean by that, they in school with predominantly white kids, Asian kids, Latino kids. It's a very diverse community. As far as the schools that they go to, the things that they're involved in, they have a lot of the same activities. And they're kind of, me and their mom are not together, but they're kind of underneath our little protection here because of what we do financially for them, right? But I would even attest to myself as a dad myself. My son is 7, my daughter's 13. I haven't done probably the best job of preparing them for their life battle, knowing that racism is going to be one of their battles too. I think what we've done for ourselves has been a great step of moving to I'm not the father. I'm probably the first generation of father of my, what's the word I'm looking for? Heritage that's not poverty, if that makes sense. I'm not in poverty. I'm fortunate enough to do some things for myself. So, and because of that, we have probably educated our kids that, hey, you're not growing up poverty, so some of the things that poverty taught us as far as how society would see us from a racial standpoint, we're not really transferring to our kids to understand that the battles that they're going to have. And so that's a boat that a lot of, black American like myself and maybe Ryan Clark, feeling guilty about has experienced. I haven't done the best job with that, to tell him that you are still a black American man in America. And racism will follow you once this protection is once you're away from my protection. And even as a father, who some men will see me, people who really know me will look at me and say, man, I think you're one of the most phenomenal fathers that I see. But I haven't done the best job with that. I mean, some people see my son and they see this is a handsome kid, whether it's a white woman or a black woman. I wouldn't know what to do if something would happen to him at an age. What this video is about is preparing them for their life battle. Their generation are going to have their life battles. They're going to still have a racism battle. The policies that we're watching today about police reform, social injustice, policies that are being created, their life is going to have to live in that policy and live in that reform, and also be able to revise that reform. And we got to do a better job as parents equipping our children to understand that their generation, it will have their battles. I think we do so much as parents to try to eliminate our struggle from our children. Like, I don't want them to struggle the way I did, because we're probably the first generation of non-poverty. And we don't want that to continue to be their legacy. Like, I don't want your legacy to be poverty. And that's a beautiful thing that we've done, but we haven't prepared them for their battles best. They get into the world and they struggle so much because we haven't done the best job of educating them about, away from our protection, you still have a battle. And I need to properly prepare you for that battle. How to verbally fight this battle. How to write policy to change this battle. How to equip yourself in an economic place for your battle. Because the reality is that as a Black American man, my kids, even though they're growing up in a very rich community right now, they're still not, the kids, the white American kids, still have an advantage or a privilege over them. And that's a real thing. Preparing them for their battles. I'm not gonna keep this video that long. I just wanted to kind of get that out of there. You know, as like I said, I live down here in New Orleans, and what his response to what he was saying, I felt what he was saying. I really felt him. I really felt how he felt about his son. How he was really more sorry about what he didn't do as a father, preparing him properly for race outside of his protection. How a different state will see you just as a Black man, not as this bubble of protection that he's been raised under. And a lot of us have done that, who has been fortunate enough to do some of these things for our children. By the time they get out of our bubble, they're not properly prepared for their life battle and their struggle. Racism will still be our kid's struggle. That's my video. Again, man, subscribe to this FameView Live page if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I deeply appreciate it. See y'all next time.